Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for a tempestuous tempest of intellectual combat as we delve into the riveting exchange between Destiny and Hasanabi, where fiery sparks of disagreement illuminated the digital firmament.
Because companies aren't democracies. They're totalitarian.
So how do you run a company? So first of all, usually how are companies made, usually?
I would never talk to Ethan about this because this is the one aspect where it goes directly against his best interest.
Google.
Right.
Made by a few.
That's such a disgusting slime ball thing to say. I can't believe you understand what Hasan is saying here, right? Let me do the Destiny translation. I would never talk about this to Ethan because he's such a disgusting, bad faith, greedy fucking loser that he's never going to be honest about how absolutely gross the way that he runs his businesses, and he's just going to shill for fucking capitalism because he's a wealthy business owner that directly benefits off of the exploitation of his labor, right? That's like, what a gross statement. Also, not to mention, how insane to say that about a guy that you co-host a social political podcast with. What a weird thing to say. I would never talk about this because I know my co-host is bad faith. By the way, when I say this, that thing that we won't talk about, it's literally like the center point to my entire economic and political philosophy. Move it a bit away from the edge. You can use floor hold to go through, then run it down the pillar. Can you replay what he says again? He basically just claims that Ethan is too not that. He basically just claims that Ethan is too bought into capitalism as a business owner to even have an honest opinion about this. So Hasan could never reach him. That's essentially what he's saying, right?
First of all, usually how are companies made, usually?
I would never talk to Ethan about this because this is the one aspect where it goes directly against his best interest.
Google.
Right.
Made by a few
I wouldn't debate Ethan on this front. I mean, obviously it's different for Dan because Dan is
an employee instead of an employer because Dan's nose isn't as big as Ethan's. I'm totally adding anti-Semitism. I don't think Hasan is anti-Semitic. I'm sorry. I'm just being edgy. But bro, come on. What a rude thing to say about your podcast co-host about politics. That's such an unbelievably shitty thing to say. Imagine if Ethan was I think that talking about the current state of world affairs and what's happening to Ukraine and China is important. I don't really think I would discuss genocides, though, with a Turk. I don't think I would discuss genocide with Hasan because obviously he's very motivated to deny, his people's past. Could you imagine saying something like that? That would be so wild. Bro, Hasan is your podcast co-host. Why would you say that? That he's not capable of engaging on something on a political level? That's so unbelievably true. Dude, that's not what he's saying. Review this stream and come back in a month after you're unbanned, maybe if you want to. That is absolutely what he's saying. There is no other interpretation of this. And whatever other dimension of charitability that you're going to try to get on to change what he's saying, go fuck yourself. Get that ass banned.
He's different for Dan because Dan is he works with Ethan in a different way. But if I were to debate someone who is a business owner...
What does he mean he works with Ethan in a different way? You mean he works for Ethan? Why did he just avoid saying that? He was a tier 2. He deserves a 7-day ban at most. Okay, you're right. You know what? You get a 1-hour ban. Pegatron talked me out of it. You're lucky.
Friend or not friend, that's not a talking point that I would use because that shuts you out of the combo aggressively.
That's why right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we ran companies that way?
Isn't Hasan a business owner? Not really, but not by choice, just because he's lazy. He should be, but he's not. It's really funny because Hasan, I don't know if we've talked about this, but Hasan is kind of his work ethic, I think, is a little bit... Oh, did we talk about... I don't know if I talked about this on stream or it was off stream, but Hasan's work ethic is similar to Vosh's in that... we were talking about this. There was a group of people in here. I think that people are sometimes very content to being a big fish in a small pond, and they don't want to upgrade. They'd rather be the big fish in the small pond than a medium-sized fish trying to eat the others in a larger pond. So, Hasan is very comfortable with where he's at. He's very unambitious. And then same thing with Vosh. Vosh is very comfortable where he's at. He's very unambitious. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of sad, but
L take on humanity, dude.
Destiny, that intellectual juggernaut of online debates, cast his discerning gaze upon Hasanabi, critiquing his stance on a video that had the internet abuzz. In this impassioned dialogue, we shall unravel the layers of disagreement and dissect the nuances of their discourse. The catalyst for this fervent exchange was Hasanabi's recent contemplation of not engaging in certain topics when debating the formidable Klein. Hasanabi had proposed the avoidance of subjects that might contradict Klein's interests, particularly those that pertain to the alleged totalitarian nature of companies as opposed to their democratic facade. Destiny, never one to mince words, expressed visceral disgust at Dan's statement regarding companies. In his fervent critique, Destiny underscored the necessity of acknowledging the complexities of corporate governance, rejecting the idea of an overarching totalitarian regime. Destiny further delved into the heart of the matter, asserting that Hasanabi's reluctance to tackle this topic head-on stemmed from its potential to directly challenge his own interests. As a business owner, Destiny posited that Hasanabi might have a vested interest in avoiding discussions related to labor exploitation, a subject that could potentially implicate his own practices. In Destiny's unvarnished appraisal, this reluctance was akin to a conflict of interest that might cast doubt on the purity of Hasanabi's intentions. The gauntlet was thrown when Destiny deemed Hasanabi's remarks about Klein to be disrespectful, questioning Klein's capability to engage in political discussions due to his capitalist inclinations. In this cauldron of contention, Destiny drew a parallel, hypothetically musing about avoiding discussions on genocide with Hasan due to his Turkish background. It was a potent analogy, meant to highlight the inherent pitfalls of precluding debate based on personal affiliations and beliefs. However, let us not forget the role of Dan, the silent observer and contributor to the H3 podcast. Destiny, with his customary sagacity, emphasized the shifting dynamics that occur when debating someone who is not only a business owner but also possesses a unique relationship with the primary host. Dan's role within the podcast ecosystem, distinct from Klein's, introduces an element of complexity that cannot be ignored. As the conversation swirled into a maelstrom of interpretations and opinions, the digital coliseum was alive with passionate viewers contributing their own perspectives to the fray. It became a microcosm of the broader discourse landscape, where the clash of ideas and the exchange of opinions are the lifeblood of intellectual evolution. In the grand tapestry of online debates, the Destiny Hasanabi discourse serves as a vivid reminder of the complexities inherent in discussing contentious subjects. It calls upon us, the spectators of this intellectual joust, to reflect upon the principles of discourse, the boundaries of respect, and the potential pitfalls of avoiding discussions based on personal affiliations. It is a crucible of ideas, where the fire of disagreement refines our understanding and challenges our preconceptions. Let us embrace the lessons it imparts and strive for more informed, respectful, and nuanced dialogues in the ever-evolving landscape of digital discourse.